Senator, thank you so much for being on the program. Obviously, we're not here to talk about Big Fanny. There's a lot more important things going on. We can't help ourselves. However, sometimes it's just too funny. What we'd like to talk to you about, Donald Trump says there were a lot of phone calls, people requesting that, well, Big Fanny get disqualified. We'd like to disqualify Secretary Mayorkas. Yeah. And apparently, impeachment articles for Mayorkas will be heading to the Senate. And I'm sure you're getting plenty of phone calls from Americans saying this is a big issue. Poll after poll shows immigration is the top issue in the country. Will the Senate actually take up these articles of impeachment?
Yeah. Benny, so I just can't. I got to at least talk for 1 second about Big Fanny and the Fulton County soap opera. So forgive me. That's just having too much fun. I need to be a little bit lighter today. This is a soap opera where we don't know who is sleeping with whom. We do know that taxpayers are funding it. It is a total disgrace. This lady has Trumpitis like I've never seen it. I'm a doctor. She's got Trumpitis. It's official. Someone with Trump derangement syndrome should never be running a trial like this. It's a disgrace.
So yes, I mean we have a meme that we're definitely going to play for you at the end here, but I want to let's really quickly cover Mayorkas, okay? Because it's really important for us to see that Republicans in Congress do something, right? And this was a huge stone to roll to the top of the mountain, and now it goes to the Senate. Now, we know Republicans are not in control of the Senate, at least now. It seems like your prospects are very bright for 2024. Right. However, can you game theory this for us? What's going to happen when those articles of impeachment are sent over, I think, this week?
Yes. So we'll get those on Wednesday. Benny, this issue is toxic to Democrats. It is so bad that they are willing to go nuclear on us, that the Democrats are not going to let us have an impeachment trial, that they will lose the majority because of this. Joe Biden will lose the Senate to Donald Trump because of this. To your point, this is the number one defining issue of this election. Every state, even Kansas, is now a border state. I'm sure you went through these numbers with folks. 11 million illegal border crossings under Joe Biden. 250,000 Americans have died from fentanyl poisoning. 2 million gotaways. Terrorists are on the loose. All these things are happening, but they're not going to let us have an impeachment trial. But we are going to do everything we can to make sure the good people from Montana and Ohio, from Michigan and Wisconsin, all these other states know exactly what's going on. Any two of these Senate Democrats could step forward and force the trial, but Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer want no part of a trial.
It does seem interesting that one of your colleagues, John Fetterman, continues to say the open border is very bad. This is a terrible thing for the country. We don't have a border. This is an invasion. Effectively parroting Republican talking points on this issue. Do you think that you could potentially get a flip?
Yeah, I do think that he's out there, that would be one. And then if he would flip, then all we need is one of these other senators from these purple states, so-called purple. Montana, my goodness, President Trump won it by 20 points or whatever. Ohio is another state that President Trump won. He's up by 12 points there, I understand. So I think that's a chance to get across the finish line there too. So either way, we're going to turn this political theater back onto its head, flip it on the Democrats, and make sure we get the majority back in November along with President Trump across the finish line.
So inside baseball here, we haven't been huge fans of Mitch McConnell. It's okay, right? And Mitch McConnell says he's going to retire. There's going to be a big race, obviously, to replace him, and then a big race, obviously, for control of the Senate. Now, the betting market say that Republicans have the odds on winning control of the Senate, and so the leader, obviously, of Republicans is going to be paramount, especially given obviously the chaos that we've seen over the last 4 years. Can you tell us what's happening internally inside of the Senate chambers? Who's jockeying for what position? Who do you expect will be successful in this leadership race?
Yeah, Benny, I think this is much like who's going to be the next coach for Alabama when someone that's been there for 20 years and successful is replaced. And that's the process we're going through right now. There's not a clear front runner right now. John Thune and John Cornyn are both expressed interest in it. And I think that there's still, a dark horse candidate to be named later. I think a lot of this depends. Do we do this election before or after the November election. If we have 3 or 4, maybe 6 new Republican senators, then they'll want a voice in this as well right now. But we're looking though. I'm interviewing all these people right now. I want to know who among those candidates are going to stand up and fight for a border. Who's going to stand up and fight to balance the budget? Who is willing to fight for these values that are important to Americans across the country?
Yes. How are those interviews going?
Well, I got to tell you, it's a little struggling right now. I don't hear much volume out of leadership in the Republican Senate right now. Much volume. They're very focused on Ukraine, and we can talk about that another day. I'm not a big supporter of more funding for Ukraine right now until we fund our own border. So they're not going well. Just to be frank, Benny, they're not going well at all. I expect to have more volume from our leadership saying, damn it, we should have an impeachment trial. That's what the Constitution says. That's what the Senate rule says. We should have an impeachment trial. Americans want some accountability. The family of Laken Riley, what are we going to tell her? If we don't do this trial, it's like telling them we don't care about you, your loved one. We don't care about the 250,000 people that have died from fentanyl poisoning.
So that's obviously a form of biological terrorism and drug terrorism to our communities. And I know that hits, I'm from Iowa. I know it hits small towns really hard. And the drugs hit these small rural populations harder than they hit the inner cities actually by population. And so it's really tough. And it's obviously something that really stays top of mind. There's also a more ethereal form of terrorism, which is literal terrorists crossing the border. You have a tweet up about this, the terror watch lists being arrested on the border in the year 2024. It is shocking. Seems like you might be totally aligned with the leadership of the FBI and our intelligence agencies who are saying, we're ready. There's going to be a terror attack. Like because of this policy, there's going to be a terrorist attack, which brings me, I guess, to my question, which is how can you support a party that is allowing a terrorist attack? For the life of me, I can't get it, Senator. Maybe you can illuminate that for me politically.
Yeah, Benny, I'm with you. So they've caught, I believe, 350 terrorists on this known terrorist watch list. They've caught 350. So now let's go to the bigger population. 2 million known gotaways are in the country right now. 2 million. Now, what percentage of those are terrorists? Is it 1%? Is it 10%? Who are they? Where are they? And yes, the FBI is sending the 5-alarm fire siren out there saying that there's challenges going on right now. And all I can say is that's why we need an impeachment trial so we can make sure the other half of the nation, which seems to think that there's no problem on the southern border, that they're just that Republicans are racist, that we have other issues that we're talking about. So this is why we need an impeachment trial. I have no idea why people would support a party that allows 11 million people to cross our border illegally under their watch. With Joe Biden's pen alone, he could stop this.
Yeah. I mean, Elon Musk regularly talks about how this is happening to clearly swing the election for Democrats. And this is the California model, right? If you import the voters and they vote, you can get fealty from them by getting them into the system and the government goodies, and then you vote for the party that will give you more of those. And so then what's going to happen? You're going to turn every single state in America, including Kansas, Iowa, Florida, into California. That's been the test model. And Elon Musk has been talking about this a lot on his platform X. Now, that platform is under attack from a foreign power, right? Which I think is very interesting. I don't know if you've been following what they were doing in Brazil to Elon Musk, but it seems like the State Department is outsourcing their attacks on Elon Musk to the state of Brazil and the Supreme Court of that state. And yesterday on the show, Byron Donalds was like, it is the American government's job to protect our business owners and American businesses from these kind of attacks. I wonder if you agree with that. Seemingly, they're attacking Elon Musk for speaking too much truth.
Yeah, Benny, certainly our freedom of speech is in jeopardy right now. This White House continues to attack our freedom of speech, especially someone that maybe agrees politically with you and me. But I think it goes way beyond Brazil, that there is definitely an organized effort by communist China, by Russia, by this axis of evil, to attack us through propaganda, through social media. Even myself, way underestimated it. But as I continue to talk to other world leaders, as we continue to have our briefings, closed door briefings as well, I underestimated that this is a very organized propaganda effort. I think TikTok is but one example, as that may touch some toes of some of your listeners, but it is a national security issue to me.
Yeah. So would you be in favor? I mean, would you be in favor of doing anything to like stand up for Elon Musk and protect X? I mean, they're clearly going after him because we're gearing up towards an election, and you can speak freely on the platform. It's just.
Yeah, absolutely, Benny. I think I'm for freedom of speech. And I'm going to have to take a deeper dive. That this is great. I learned something today too. I didn't realize that Brazil was specifically attacking Elon, but absolutely, we'll take a look at that and see what type of things. Maybe we can tweet something, or you tweet it, we'll retweet it. How's that sound?
Be something great to ask the new Senate leadership. That would be really important. Now, speaking of new Senate leadership, final question here. Country leadership. You're very close, obviously, with President Trump, 2024. Game theorying what's going to happen. What do you see as the strategy heading forward? We only got 6 months. I mean, it sent a chill down your spine. You got 6 months, the general election right now.
Yeah. Well, Benny, you're from Iowa. If President Trump would name Caitlin Clark as his vice president candidate, that would guarantee the victory right there. So I do think picking an important vice president, I think educating American public, making sure that we have fair, free elections. We're out there organizing legal ballot chasing, so to speak. So I think the Republicans have to embrace that. We have to embrace early voting, all those types of things. Stay on message. Let's stay on this message. Number one issue is border security. Number two issue is the economy. Number three issue is protecting our God-given constitutional rights. We stay on message. We get people out to vote. Eventually, it is about election turnout. And I'm telling you what, the Trump supporters I've seen are just on fire. They are going to get out and vote come rain, fire, wind, snow, whatever it is. We're going to get out and vote. And I think that'll be the difference. I don't know anyone that would walk across the street to hear Joe Biden talk. Really, you'd have to pay people to go listen to him. I've suffered through two of his speeches at the State of the Union, or is it three? It seemed like 20, but I can't do that ever again. Walk away question here, just since you mentioned it and you're a doctor. Your thoughts on Joe Biden's cognitive functioning? It's looking rough these days. Yeah, he's on a steep decline. Benny, we've all seen this in loved ones when they hit this cliff, so to speak, and he's fallen off the cliff cognitively. He couldn't be more challenged. It just scares me to death. When Putin or President Xi look at him and say, they don't fear, they don't respect the United States. That's what concerns me, is this person has no business being in charge of a $7 trillion budget, let alone the military, the safety and security of your families. And then the people he surrounded him with are more liberal than Barack Obama was. So it's a scary situation right now. 200 days until the election. Folks, get out and vote.
Yes. Thank you, Senator. Everybody go give the senator a follow. He has a fire account. Maybe we'll do a tweet retweet. How about that? We'll go. We got a couple of good ones in the chamber for Elon. Follow Dr. Roger Marshall from the great state of Kansas. Godspeed, sir.
At Roger Marshall, MD. Thanks, Benny. Good show.